So do you want competition or do you want collaboration? There's a phrase that says competition happens at the bottom, but collaboration happens at the top. And me and Kevin were just talking, and Kevin, you got a good story, book that you read. Tell us about it.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Well, Sam Walton, founder, owner of Walmart before he passed away, used to go into all the hardware stores and similar stores that he was trying to build. He would become friends with them. He might have been a little manipulative. We'll talk about a better way. But he became friends with them, learned their systems, saw what was selling, saw what was working, saw what wasn't working. And then he literally was traveling around doing that, then taking it back to his store when he only had 3 and figuring out better ways to do it. It's a phenomenal way to get information from what you would think are competitors, but he was doing it outside his market. You have to do it outside your market. If you're a plumbing company, you can't do it in the same town. They're not going to help you. But if you went 2 hours away, they'll likely, if you approach them in that way and you're super helpful on, hey, you can go over there and work for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll tell you all kinds of things. And you got to target companies that appear to be where you want to be. So if you're 2 trucks and 2 employees, you want to target somebody who might have 12 or 14 trucks and figure out all the things that they did. People like to help people and be an expert. So you have to approach them like that. Be humble. That's the problem. Most guys have too big an ego and they don't want to do that. But I'll tell you how I did it by accident. When I was 18, I had a landscaping business. It was just me. I bought a Ferris lawnmower, commercial lawnmower. Look, I was cutting lawns, and my best friend's mother was getting a huge Keystone wall built. And she said, Kevin, this guy's name is Kevin too. You should talk to him. She was super outgoing. She introduced me. The guy, it was on a Saturday morning. I slept over the house, and the guy didn't have some guy show up. I ended up working for him for that day. And he was telling me all kinds of stuff. So he said, I'm working tomorrow. And I said, I'll come back. And then I ended up helping this guy. This guy gave me so much info over the next 3 months on weekends that I bought different mowers. I did everything different the next spring because of him. And I made money.
Because he knew what works and what didn't work. And I mean, the same concept goes with whether you're reading a book, listening to a podcast, watching a YouTube video. You were speeding time up and you're skipping all of the trial and error. I remember when I first started my cleaning company, I was buying tools that didn't work out, and then they would sit in the shelf or in the warehouse and never get used after the first few times because I realized they just weren't a good investment. It wasn't really helping me on time. And matter of fact, as we're pivoting some in one of our businesses, we decided to secret shop the competition. So we called the competition in to check one of the rental properties I have. And I watched their entire sales funnel process, from the way they answered the phone to the way they presented themselves on the job site and the way they presented the closing portion of it. And I was able to see what they did well and what I do better. And if I can take what they do fantastic along with what I'm already doing well, then I'm going to have a much better presentation and be able to overachieve what my competition is able to do. So secret shopping is a fantastic way to see and pick up tips if you're going to use your people inside of your market. But I love what Tommy Mello on his Home Service Expert podcast talks about. He has shop tours is what he calls it. And this is where people will fly in and he will let them go through and check out his facility, see how the layout is, see how his team communicates. You get to ask questions. And entrepreneurs are proud of what they do as long as you're not inside of their market. They will open up the doors. I've had Blue Collar Millionaire members reach out to me and say, hey, would you mind if I came and did a shop tour? I love the whole, matter of fact, I was on a mastermind retreat that was industry specific for one of my companies. And I was in conversation and I said, hey, I would really like to come up with my lead guy and check out and see what you're doing and go work with one of your crews for a day or two for free to see what their process is, since this is y'all's main service. And this was a service that we wanted to increase volume on. And I felt like we could have some efficiencies added inside of that service. So she was 100% happy. She said, yeah, absolutely. She said, it's dead, a little slower season right now. So as soon as we pick up in the spring, just reach back out to me. And any day that you want to come up, I'll stick you with the team, and then I'll make sure I'm available. So any questions that you have, I can answer those.
It's a great way to go really fast. And I did it by accident. And then, as Mark Evans says, it worked so well, I stopped doing it. Why didn't why I didn't do it again? But I'll tell you another time I did do it. So I got into roof cleaning back in like 2009. I knew there was a need. I had no idea how to do it. It wasn't on YouTube back then or anything. So I went to a pressure washing summit because I heard they had a roof cleaning class. I paid. I flew down there. I was on a super strict budget back then. And I took the course, and then the guy knew tons about roof cleaning. So I asked him if I could pay him to shadow him for 2 days. I brought a guy who was helping me in the roof cleaning. We went down there, and I mean, we were working. It wasn't him just showing us. He was teaching us everything, but we were like trying to help him get jobs done, and we wanted to go faster. At the end of the day, my buddy says, hey, I don't even think we need another day. I think we got this. And we did. I mean, we were helping him how to set up ladders. He was his team was nervous on the roof. They were pressure washers on the roof. We were roofers doing pressure washing. So we helped him too. And we became friends, and I'm still friends with that guy. But I paid him, I think, $500, and he taught me everything he knew. But we were 3 hours away from him. So we didn't get in his market. But how long does that take otherwise? This is a real thing you can do, is learn from people who are exactly where you want to be, pay them, forget the pick your brain thing where you're going to just ask people questions. Go ahead and go down there and be super valuable. Spend a Saturday with them, and you'll be shocked. That's how I learned how to do pavers and stuff for landscaping. I got paid to do it, but I was like the one would grab the wheelbarrow and lug everything. And then they'll teach you anything. Then you ask them questions while you're working and doing stuff, being valuable. Oh, they'll give it to you all. I did it. I help guys.
And you don't have to talk to the business owner when it's a big organization. You're not going to learn unless you're trying to learn, the operation in the office area. I mean, getting out in the field, if you're trying to see the service fulfillment side, that the operations, not the admin, getting out with the leads, their best producers, and being a hand is going to teach you the most. Just like you said, Kevin. I mean, when you're out there with them, you start asking questions, whether you're pushing the wheelbarrow or not. You get a chance to ask some questions. They're going to answer those questions for you. So many people are very quick to sit there and pay for formal education, like going to a college, where they don't even get real world experience. And the people that's teaching them, it's been forever, if they ever did have real world experience, where we can sit here and pay $500, $1,000, or a couple of grand to someone and come donate your time for free and get all the education you're going to need in a matter of 24 to 48 hours, because you're getting real world experience with guys that are doing it day in and day out. Very, very powerful way to get educated, and to, even if you're operational, to just learn new tips and tricks to make yourself better. I mean, technology changes so much and so fast nowadays that, I mean, every 6 months, if you did something like this with a successful company, I believe that you would pick up tips and tricks that you would bring back home every time to your business.
And here's another one you could do within the system. If you're going to add a new service, Chris, you were thinking of adding a new service with the crawl spaces and stuff. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but for me, like, I wanted to do underground drain cleaning. Can I figure that out? Yes. Have we done it a little bit? Yes. But like, all these associations were always asking us. So I found somebody who knows how to do it.
Yep.
I had him train some of my guys, and then we create videos and everything. Like, I want him to be on my team to show me, but I'm not competing with him. I want to like condense 10 years of stuff he figured out. He was doing this, but this way's better. This way will save you 10 minutes. This way will save you this, and just give it all to me. And I'm happy to pay for it. So you could go out there, work, learn it, pay for that person, take them to dinner, and you're back at 9:00 at night. And now all of a sudden you got a whole new service. How long is that going to take you otherwise to figure it out?
I did a post today talking about leverage, and the post was actually my dad when I was a kid, and I watched him after a couple of grown men in their 20s, nice and fit guys, were unable to break a bolt loose on a rusty bolt, and then he went and grabbed a 4-foot pipe and slid it over the handle and broke it loose with ease. And that cheater pipe was a point of leverage for him. And this is a point of leverage for you in your business when you sit there and you find someone that is not threatened by you getting the inside secrets of how they operate because you're not in their market, but you're able to leverage years of experience that they have dialed in their processes and their systems. And then you can see what they're doing great. And not everything they're doing is going to be fantastic, but you pick away the fantastic portions of their system and then you add it to what you're doing good. And this is how you become great as a business and build a brand that is exceptional inside of your marketplace. And this is how you start to really increase enterprise value and accelerate the time for your growth. So I think it's overlooked. I didn't know that story about Sam Walton. That was a pretty cool story. Nowadays, I mean, it's so easy to do it. You can see who's doing what with all of the technology. You're able to find out. You can see how people are putting their ads out on Facebook. You can sit there and search keywords through social media, through YouTube, and see who populates. But I'd hop on Google. I would look, find a city, a large city that's a good 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away from you. I think 3 hours about max you'd have to do. And most cities have another major city near them within 3 to 4 hour drive. And then just call them up and say, hey, I'm in this market. Here's what I'm doing. Can I pay you to let me come and work for free with one of your crew members so I can see your processes? We're trying to increase our efficiency in our market currently. Here's my website so that you can see that we're legit and I'm not trying to creep on you.
Yeah. And being humble and saying, I'll come work. They're not used to that because most people, they never heard of somebody saying that. So you could pay them if you want, or you could say, I'll pay you a little and I'll come work for free.
Most won't take it.
No, like that landscaper, I had a lot of lawns to do, but I wasn't doing them on Saturdays and Sundays. I was surprised he was working Sundays. So I said, I'll work for you on Sundays.
Yeah.
And he was paying me less, right? But I was learning so much. And then I used to tell him, hey, sometimes I cut lawns on Saturday, but if you get behind and somebody flakes on you, just call me. I'll help. And he would call me sometimes at 9 o'clock at night. And I say, hey, I got to do 2 lawns. I could be over there 10:30. I didn't need to do that. And I was a young kid. I had the attitude of, and he was just always helping me. And here's another thing that happened. So later on, I had, you have issues, your lawnmower breaks, your truck breaks. This guy had a lot of equipment. All I had to do was call him and he was like, yeah, take it. We're not cutting lawns on Tuesday. Go ahead, take it. And I remember I was trying to get one mower and he was like, just take the whole dump in the trailer. It's easier. So now I'm out there like using his stuff. Like he's just, are great people. He was looking at me like I was this young, hungry, nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it now because I'm on the other side. He wasn't 50, but he was like in his 30s. And you can get so much information off. I made so much money off learning that. And then last part of that is I got paver jobs and I knew how to do it now with him. But the first time I said, hey, can you be involved with me on this? I want to make sure I do this customer right. And then I gave him a piece of the profits. And all he did was come out there with one of his guys and kind of check on it, make sure everything was good. And he was like, yeah. And of course, he worked for like a little while. Like you can do that with people too. It's just the best transition. You don't have this pressure of trying to figure it all out on your own.
I'd like to challenge everyone listening to this podcast to do a secret shop inside of your market, because a lot of times it will allow you to see what room you have to better yourself. And what I mean is make sure you're not calling from your company phone because you don't want it popping up on the caller ID. So use a friend's phone if that's what you have to, but call the competition and see how they answer the phone. See if they answer the phone, and then set up an appointment, an inspection, a quote over the phone. Find out how they're quoting it, what they're quoting it at. That way you can price check yourself. I don't think you're supposed to build your prices compared to your competition. It's supposed to be based off of where you're going to be profitable at. But what if you were $30, $40 per unit lower than your competition? I guarantee you would be much braver in raising your prices knowing that your competition was that much higher. In that one instant, an example right there would be worth you taking the time to secret shop your competition. Hop on their websites, their Google profiles, see what their reviews are, see where their review count is at, because how many reviews do you need to have? One more than your competition, because that's what the customer is paying attention to. Who's got the most 5-star reviews, and are they 5-star or are they 3? So you need to be paying attention, because you will find some really interesting facts that will help benefit you. And a lot of times it'll change your mindset and allow you to break through some walls that you haven't been able to break through.
And there's other things you find out in that secret shopping. Do they answer their phone? Are they good at answering their phones? What do their proposals look like? How
Mhm.
quickly did they get back to you? You can find out all kinds of other things that you can use to as an advantage. It's not just pricing. You're like, wow, I got 5 of them and only one of them did this. That was smart. Now I'm going to do that. Now there's 2 in the market doing that
Mhm.
and the other
Yep.
4 don't. Like that's what I'm always doing because that's what we're always talking about. How do you make your product service stand out so it's not a commodity? It's just like, oh, okay, it's everybody's charging $100 now. Then it's a race to the bottom. But companies figure out what about the company charging 120 on that, but their proposal looks better. They have better services. Maybe it's just a little bit of perception. You can add that to yours too.
Secret shop yourself if you've got a big enough company. If you're never listening to the phone, have a buddy call in and perform the service and give that service away to them for free at the end of the day if it's something that's affordable, and let them experience and then let them give you feedback and say, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like. The person over the phone had no enthusiasm, didn't sound like they even cared if I called or not. The technicians that showed up, had sour attitudes, almost broke something. Like, very interesting facts. Listen, when the cat's away, the mice will play, is a little saying. And if you're always involved, very involved, you're only seeing the best of your world most of the time. So it's even flipping it on its back and letting somebody that's close, that's not going to throw you under the bus, secret shop your company. So that way, what it's looking like when your eyes aren't on it.
Good stuff. This is our call $10,000 podcast. If anybody did the 2 things we're saying, secret shop and connect with people outside their market, actually do it, learn a service or whatever you want and apply it. There's no way you don't make an extra $10,000. And I don't mean gross. I mean to yourself in 2025. I wouldn't believe it. I don't believe you did it then. I believe you
100%.
you thought about it or you did one part of it, but I don't believe you did it. That's how I look at things.
This is the exact same stuff we were talking about the other day inside of Boardroom Elite in our paid mastermind. So y'all are getting the nitty gritty on this podcast. We'll see you next Thursday. Appreciate you guys tuning in.